Once upon a time in a vast forest, there lived many animals, all with their own strengths and weaknesses. Among them was Leo, the brave lion, who ruled the jungle with fairness and strength. His roar echoed through the trees, and all creatures knew him to be the protector of the forest. Leo was admired by many for his courage, especially when danger loomed. In the same forest lived a small, timid rabbit named Rufus. Unlike Leo, Rufus was afraid of almost everything: the rustling of leaves, the hoot of an owl, even his own shadow at times. And he always lived in fear, staying hidden in his burrow, afraid of venturing out into the unknown. Rufus looked up to Leo, often wishing he had just a fraction of the lion's bravery. One afternoon, as Rufus peeked out of his burrow, he heard distant whispers among the animals. "The hunters are coming," the birds chirped. A group of human hunters had been spotted at the edge of the forest, and panic quickly spread through the animals. He began to hide, and others, like Rufus, trembled at the thought of being caught. Leo, upon hearing the news, gathered the animals. "We must work together to protect our forest," he declared. His powerful voice gave the animals some hope, but Rufus couldn't help but feel terrified. "What if the hunters come for me? I'm just a small rabbit." "I can't do anything," he thought to himself, shaking in fear. As night fell, the forest grew quieter, but the tension in the air remained. Rufus stayed close to his burrow, anxiously twitching his nose, when suddenly he heard a soft, frantic noise. Turning his head, he saw something surprising. A small deer had gotten its legs stuck in a dense patch of vines near Rufus's burrow. The deer was too young to free itself and was bleeding softly in panic. "If I don't help, the hunters might find her," Rufus thought, his heart racing. But fear gripped him, and for a moment he considered running away and hiding. However, deep inside, he knew he couldn't leave the deer in danger. Summoning all his courage, Rufus hopped over to the struggling deer. And his paws trembled, but he began nibbling and pulling at the vines, trying to free her. It was difficult, and every sound in the forest made Rufus jump, but he didn't stop. He knew that helping the deer was more important than his fear. After what felt like an eternity, the vines finally loosened and the young deer was able to stand. She nuzzled Rufus gratefully. "Thank you," she said softly before darting off into the forest. As Rufus watched her go, he realized something had changed within him. His heart was still pounding, but it wasn't just fear that he felt, it was pride. He had done something brave, even though he had been terrified. For the first time, Rufus understood that courage wasn't about being fearless, but about doing what's right despite the fear. Just then, Leo appeared, having heard the commotion. "Rufus, I saw what you did," the lion said, his voice deep with approval. "You saved that deer from danger." "That was a brave act, my friend." Rufus blinked, astonished that the great lion was praising him. But I was so scared," Rufus admitted. Leo smiled, his golden mane glowing in the moonlight. "Courage isn't about not being afraid. It's about acting even when you are afraid. You have shown true bravery tonight, Rufus. You may be small, but your heart is strong." From that night on, Rufus walked with more confidence. The other animals began to see him in a new light, not just as the fearful rabbit who hid in his burrow, but as someone who could be counted on in times of need. Rufus still felt fear sometimes. He was, after all, a rabbit, but now he knew that bravery wasn't about size or strength. It was about the heart and the courage to face fear head-on. As for Leo, he continued to protect the forest. But now, with Rufus by his side, he knew that even the smallest creature could be a hero. Courage isn't the absence of fear, but the decision to act in the face of it. No matter how small or fearful you may feel, true bravery comes from doing what's right, even when you're scared. Subscribe for more moral stories.